What's going on, y'all? Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way in. Hit the like button on your way in and join the chat. You already know the deal, man. Listen, I am Kenyatta Black, the man who brought you the Yams Appreciation Series and Yams Appreciation Day. I am the man who brought you the Hit 'em Up series. I am the man who brought you the Live with Martin Swartz series, and I am the man who brought you the Big Back Energy series. And as a matter of fact, if you're not following me on Instagram or YouTube, or Instagram or Facebook, you better follow me on Instagram and Facebook so you can keep up with those series. Those series are not YouTube friendly. You know what I'm saying? I'm going in those series. So if you're missing out, you're missing out. And that's a you problem. Alright, so you better come on over to Instagram and come on over to Facebook and follow me there so you can have access to those hilarious series. But anyway, I am Kenyatta Black. Shout out to the Black Squad. Let the show begin.
Black Squad TV was good with you.
Black Squad TV.
Shout out to Black Squad TV, said Prince Ella, aka the Predator Princess, aka the hater with oh my God, man, y'all are wild.
Our Constitution has more extensive protections for free speech than any other liberal democracy. And it protects hate speech. It does not protect speech that can be understood as an immediate incitement to violence. But it does protect hate speech, and I myself believe, although I understand that other people believe differently, that protecting people's rights to say abhorrent things is an important part of the protection of our right of free speech. But I understand that our students today, they grew up with instruction against bullying in the public schools. They understand what harassment is. They don't understand why it's not okay for them to say something in a classroom or in a dormitory that someone like Milo can come to campus and say in Zellerbach Auditorium.
I want to push you a little harder, though, on this, because the question is how does protecting Milo Yiannopoulos' right to engage in what I personally actually do think is fairly hateful speech, how does that protect my rights to free speech?
Well, the question is, who's the censor? So if you determine that someone has the right of determining what is hate speech and what is not hate speech, I believe you give a dangerous kind of authority to the government. And so someone that is going to censor Milo's right to engage in what we call hate speech today might call hate speech tomorrow something that is, for example, critical of Roy Moore. Or critical of the kind of bigotry that you see in some of our far right groups today.
So the danger is that one person's hate speech might be another person's valid criticism of somebody else. And since it's very hard to make the distinction, therefore we have to say, even when we think that it looks like hate speech to us, we need to allow it to make sure we protect the right of the person who would have a valid criticism that others might think is hate speech.
That's exactly right.
Shout out to the Black Squad. Once again, I am back. I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know if this is going to be a long one or if this is going to be a brief one. But as you can see, I'm approaching it like it might be a long one. I don't know. Once again, we are going to let the foundational Black American Holy Ghost take the wheel. Let's see if the foundational Black American Holy Ghost takes the wheel today. We'll see. If the foundational Black American Holy Ghost takes the wheel, then this will definitely be a good one. This will definitely be a good one. you could tell by the opening and by the thumbnail and by the title itself, I, Kenyatta Black, I believe that so-called hate speech is protected under freedom of speech. Absolutely. I sure do. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care if a white guy gets on TV screaming nigga, 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 nigga. Now, if you know, American society wants, you know, say for the sake of the argument that white guy happens to be a celebrity or a politician, and they want to, you know, cancel that white guy, not support his music or his shows or his movies or his TV show or whatever it is he does, or if he's a politician, if American society decides they are going to vote him out of office, or say he's running for some position, be it mayor, governor, senator, or president, congressman, or whatever, they decide they're not going to vote for him, that is up to the American people. However, that white guy, as far as I'm concerned, has every right, if he feels like doing so, to jump on TV and scream nigga, 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 nigga at the top of his lungs. Now, if he makes it out the building and to his vehicle safely, well, then that is the fault of every black person in the building. You understand? Now, he can get up there and scream it if he wants to. And as far as I'm concerned, the Constitution provides that white guy with the right to do it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not gonna face any accountability for doing it. You know, he might get canceled. He might get his ass whipped before he gets to his car. But hate speech is free speech. Hate speech is covered under freedom of speech. See, the beautiful thing about the American Constitution is that it provides the American citizens with the ability to do what very few people on this planet are allowed to do. We are allowed to criticize, and we are allowed to publicly criticize and critique individuals in power up to and including the fucking president. There are some countries, as a matter of fact, there are plenty of countries in this world where if you criticize the ruling, forget the president of that country or king of that country or dictator of that country. There are plenty of countries in this world where if you even criticize the ruling class, you might come up missing. There are certain countries in this world where, say, you decide you want to run for president, right? And you run for president and you lose. There are plenty of countries in this world where if you run for president against the current president and you lose, you will end up in a fucking jail cell. There are plenty of countries in this world where if you decide you want to run for president against the sitting president, you might end up in a grave. I think it would be very foolish for the American people and people living in America, because there is a difference. And that contrasting difference has never been more obvious than it is today. You have Americans, and then you have people living in America. Okay? I think it would be foolish for Americans to take the side of those individuals who seem to have a problem with the First Amendment. And think about, the so-called founding fathers. And I say so-called founding fathers because first and foremost, I am a foundational Black American man. I am a foundational Black American man first, before anything else. So I say so-called founding fathers because I'm extremely disgruntled with the founding fathers of this country. Okay? But the founding fathers had enough sense to draft a constitution that provided the American people with, as they put it, certain inalienable rights. And the First Amendment is the freedom of speech. And of course, there are other things covered under the First Amendment. But the main thing is freedom of speech. Now, why did these founding fathers see fit to make this the First Amendment? Obviously, they felt that it was so important, that it was so vital to the foundation of America, that they made it the First Amendment. And when you think about it, regardless of whether you like the founding fathers or not, that was a very intelligent thing to do. To give the American people the freedom of speech, the freedom to say what the hell is on their minds, the freedom to critique their government, the freedom to check their government, the freedom to condemn their government if need be, the freedom to get on national TV and state the fact that Joe Biden is the worst president in American history and he's got to go. And also the freedom to make a YouTube video and say boldly and loudly that Kamala Harris would be worse than Joe Biden. And if you vote for Kamala Harris, you are a fucking moron. I have the freedom to say that on YouTube without going to jail. And that is a beautiful thing. That is one of the beautiful things about America. And rightly so, the founding fathers of this country, they followed up the First Amendment with the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. And in case you didn't quite get it, it is the Second Amendment that truly provides the American people with the First Amendment. Which is why when you look at politicians like Joe Biden, when you look at politicians like Kamala Harris, they seem to not only have a problem with the First Amendment, they also have a problem with the Second Amendment. This is why you always hear these liberals talking about gun control. This is why you always hear these liberals talking about censorship. Go on YouTube and look up the video for yourself and listen to the interview where Kamala Harris, she's talking about YouTubers. She's talking about people on social media, podcasters. And, you know, she's going on and on about how she has a problem with how these people are, quote, allowed, as if this isn't America, as if we don't have the First Amendment in this country, at how these people are allowed to get on these platforms and say what they want to say unchecked. She thinks that these people in these platforms need to be censored. And likewise, in true liberal fashion, she also thinks that, you know, we need gun control. It really should be no secret, and I'm going off topic for a brief second here. Somewhat going off topic, but not really, because I'm still talking about freedom of speech. But I'm pointing out to you the Second Amendment that is truly what protects the First Amendment. See, the founding fathers understood. It is no coincidence that the First Amendment is freedom of speech and the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. That is no fucking coincidence. The founding fathers, say what you want to say about those bunch of slave-owning bastards, they were intelligent enough to understand that you can write whatever the hell you want to write down on a piece of paper as far as the First Amendment is concerned. You can write it down on a piece of paper that the American people have the right and privilege to say whatever the hell it is they choose to say, and whatever it is that is on their mind, that they have the right to check their government, they have the right to criticize and even condemn their government. You can write that down on a piece of paper all the hell you want. But if the American people don't have the power to say what it is that is on their mind, if they don't have the power to check, critique, and condemn their government, then what the hell you just wrote on that piece of paper means nothing. It is not what is written on paper that protects people. It is the power of the people to protect themselves that protects the people. So, how do we give the people the power to protect themselves? Give them the Second Amendment. Give them the right to bear arms. And America is the most well-armed nation on the planet. Not just the military, but the people themselves. 46% of the world's firearms are owned by Americans. And that is why no nation in their right mind will ever invade America. Because any nation that invades America has absolutely nothing but the ass whipping of a lifetime waiting for them. I believe it was a Japanese general who said the problem with invading America is the fact that there is a gun behind every blade of grass. That is a very elegant way to put it. The Japanese are a very elegant people. If nothing else, they are a very elegant people. He said that the problem with invading America is there is a firearm behind every blade of grass. So if you're wondering why nobody's ever dared to invade America, there you go. It's not only because of the might of the American military, it's also because of the might of the American people, which is honestly greater than the might of the American military itself. There's only about, like 2 million? There's only like 2 million There's only about 2 million members of the military. There's like 330 million American citizens, and probably 40% at least of the American citizens are armed with something. That is more might than the American military itself. Even with their tanks and fighter jets and everything else. So you see, that is how important the First Amendment truly is. The First Amendment is so important that it is the First Amendment. And it is so important that it was followed up with the Second Amendment being the right to bear arms, giving the American people the power to protect their freedom of speech. That is how important the First Amendment is. Now, this thing called hate speech, right? This thing called hate speech. These days, hate speech has a very loose definition, a very loosely defined thing hate speech has become. These days, if you say something that somebody doesn't like, if you say something that anybody doesn't like, they want to label it as hate speech. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. As a matter of fact, people labeling you a speaker of hate will not even stop to ask the question if what you said was true. The only thing that matters to them in their emotional state is that you said something they didn't like. So they will label your words as hate speech. And you will find this to be true all through media itself. Mainstream media, social media, doesn't matter. These days on social media, and again, I thought this was America. I thought this was America, right? These days on social media, such as Facebook, you can't even say something. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? Say you come across a reel, right? Say you're scrolling through the reels on Facebook, right? And you come across a reel of a road rage incident, right? And one person in the video was clearly in the wrong. And not only were they clearly in the wrong, but they were really showing their ass in the video, right? They were really showing their ass. And you type in the comment section, because they were showing their ass, you type in the comment section, yo, that dude should have punched that motherfucker in the face and kicked his ass. Don't you know within a few minutes, you are likely to get a message from Facebook saying that your comment may violate Facebook community guidelines, and it will give you the option of deleting your comment before Facebook decides to reprimand you or suspend you 3 days to 7 days, or put some sort of constrictions on your page, such as, you're not allowed to comment for 3 days or 7 days or 24 hours or something like that. I mean, it's not like you yourself were threatening to bring physical harm to somebody. All you said was the guy in the video should have punched the other guy in the video in the fucking face. That's all the fuck you said. And Facebook will literally threaten you with constrictions or suspension for saying such a thing. Again, I thought this was America. I thought this was America. I thought we had freedom of speech in this country. And it's insane. It's insane. And I truly believe that there are individuals in power, individuals with power, who have been ushering us down a path toward stripping the American people of every freedom we've ever known. And they are shooting for the stars, if you will, by beginning with the First and Second Amendment. I mean, it's right there in front of your face. It's right there in front of your face, just like the war on men and masculinity. Just like the war on men, just like the war on masculinity has been right there in your fucking face for the last 20 goddamn years. This war on the freedoms of Americans is right in your face. And they are beginning with the First and Second Amendment. This is why you have all these issues of censorship all over social media. This is why every time somebody says something that somebody doesn't like, they're either threatened with cancellation or they are canceled. Even comedians. Even comedians these days can't get on stage and tell a fucking joke. At least not about certain people. Right? You can't make a joke about LGBT people. Especially not those trans digitals. You better not say nothing about those trans digitals. Dave Chappelle was going back and forth with them trans digitals for years. For years. They was trying to get Dave Chappelle canceled. You know, the only reason they couldn't cancel him is because he's Dave motherfucking Chappelle. You can't cancel Dave Chappelle, bitch. Fuck you. On top of the fact, truth be told, that though the American people have gotten to the point where they will say the politically correct thing in public. They will say the politically correct thing if there's a camera in their face. It's not always how they truly feel behind closed doors. So the American people were not willing to cancel Dave Chappelle because he made a few trans digital jokes. Fuck out of here. But even that in itself is a problem. We have come to a point here in America where Americans are in some cases, afraid to speak their minds, afraid to say what is on their minds, afraid to verbalize what they truly think and feel. Regardless of the fact that they have been granted a First Amendment, regardless of the fact that constitutional law states that they have the right to say what they feel, what is on their mind, that they have the right to say what the hell they want to say. The American people have been made afraid, in many cases, to say what is on their mind because they're afraid, if they're a celebrity, they're afraid to get canceled. If they're a regular, everyday, working class individual, they're afraid they're going to lose their job. And that's ridiculous. Who are these people who are making these new rules? Who the hell are these new people that are making these new rules, and who the fuck put them in charge? As a matter of fact, let's put it this way. Who the fuck are these bunch of goddamn weirdos? And who the fuck put these weirdos in charge? Because you do realize it's a bunch of fucking weirdos that the rest of us normal people have gotten to a point where, we just don't want to offend these fucking weirdos. I think, beyond Make America Great Again, I think we need to make America normal again. Let's bring back normalcy. Make America normal again. How about that shit? As a matter of fact, speaking of, I always joke and I say, I wish America could just go back to black, white, and Mexican. Let's just go back to black, white, and Mexican. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't America simpler then? America was simpler then. America was more powerful then. America was more respected then. We didn't give a fuck about being politically correct. Racism was on the menu. Again, meaning, like I said, racism was on the menu. We didn't give a fuck about being politically correct. You had shows like Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker would get canceled today. You know what I'm saying? We had shows like The Jeffersons, Mr. Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? Archie Bunker, for you young folk, Archie Bunker was a racist white guy. George Jefferson was a racist black guy. You know what I'm saying? Archie Bunker and George Jefferson would have got canceled in 2024. But in the fucking 80s and 90s, that shit made for some great fucking television, didn't it? That's because in the 80s and 90s, Americans actually believed in freedom of speech. And we didn't have a bunch of people in power attempting to slowly strip Americans of their freedom of speech. And their game plan, if you will, to strip Americans of their freedom of speech is diabolical. Diabolical. They've infiltrated the schools, if you haven't noticed. They've infiltrated the schools. They're attacking your children. You know, softening up your children, making punks out of your children, indoctrinating your children with this ideal that hurt feelings trumps freedom of speech. You know, basically the ideal that, you know, you have freedom of speech as long as what you say doesn't hurt people's feelings. You have freedom of speech as long as you don't say anything critical about LGBT. You have freedom of speech as long as you don't say anything critical about liberal policies. As long as you don't say anything critical about the very liberal policies that have already ran several American cities into the fucking ground, and at this point are threatening to run the entire country into the fucking ground. As long as you don't say anything about that, right? As long as you don't say anything about those liberal policies that are running this country into the fucking ground, as long as you don't say anything about LGBT, as long as you don't say anything about men's rights. You know, you can talk about women's rights all motherfucking day, but as soon as you say something about men's rights, then suddenly you're a chauvinist, you're a misogynist. Suddenly you hate women, even though you didn't even bring women up. You didn't have to say a mumbling word about women. You could simply state the obvious that men should be allowed to have standards when choosing a woman to date or marry. In the affirmative or the negative, meaning a man should have standards that allow him to determine who he wants to date and who he doesn't want to date. Right? Shouldn't a man have those standards? Shouldn't a man have those standards? Of course he should. But if you say, as a man, as a single guy with no children, I don't want to date single mothers because I don't want to raise another man's child or children, because most of these single mothers have multiple babies by multiple dudes. Suddenly you're a misogynist. Suddenly you're a sexist. You hate women. You're not a real man. You see what I'm saying? But see, not only is that an attack on men, that's an attack on free speech. That's an attack on free speech. You don't have to be rude or insulting when you say you don't want to date single mothers. You don't have to say anything beyond that. You could simply state these exact words. You could simply say, I personally choose not to date single mothers. I personally choose not to get involved with single mothers because I want to start a family of my own. I don't want to be responsible for another man's child, an already made family. Relationships are hard enough when it's a one-on-one situation. Than to be getting into a relationship with a woman who already has children. And not only do I have to develop a relationship with this woman, I also have to develop a relationship with these children and possibly not only another man, but possibly multiple men if there's multiple fathers involved. And I'd rather not get into a situation like that. I'd rather Meet a woman who also doesn't have children like myself, and me and her start a family of our own together. You will be vilified and demonized simply for saying that. I didn't insult anybody with what I just said, did I? But as a man in 2024, you will be vilified and demonized for saying those exact fucking words. Not only is that an attack on men, not only is that an attack on masculinity, not only is that an attack on patriarchy, but that is also an attack on freedom of speech. Yo, on a side note, y'all got to try this Jesus juice, man. Y'all got to try this fucking Jesus juice. I swear to God. If you don't know what the Jesus juice is, you take 1 or 2 shots of Patron. I prefer 2. 2 shots of Patron. You get yourself a little wine glass, a little small glass. It don't gotta be a wine glass because I don't use a wine glass. Get yourself a little small glass. Take 2 shots of Patron. Pour the 2 shots in it. Then get you some regular Moscato. Right? For the ladies, if you like the peach Moscato, then okay, get the peach Moscato. Right? But the recipe is for regular Moscato. It's not for the peach. All right? Take 2 shots of Patron Silver. Put two shots of that Patron Silver in a small glass. And then you pour some regular Moscato on top of that. Fill up the rest of the glass about 3/4 of the way. You know what I'm saying? Twirl it around a little bit. Or you get yourself, for the ladies, you can go ahead and get you a spoon and stir it. You know, you ladies, I know how you ladies do. Go ahead and get you a spoon and stir it up like a lady. And I'm telling you, that shit blends so fucking well, and you will get, oh God, the buzz off of this shit. I'm telling you, 2 shots of Patron Silver and pour some regular Moscato on top of that. I'm telling you, I call it Jesus juice. This shit good, bruh. I'm telling you, it blends well and it gives you a hell of a buzz. Tastes great. It blends so well that it basically tastes like a stronger version of Moscato. That's how well the shit blends. You don't even hardly taste the Patron in it. You taste it, but it's not strong. It basically tastes like a stronger Moscato. You know what I'm saying? And bruh, the buzz on this joint. The buzz on this shit. Again, I call it Jesus juice. It's that Jesus juice, baby. I'm trying to make that shit popular. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to make this shit popular. As soon as I hear somebody on a fucking listen, just remember where you heard it first. Alright? Jesus juice. This is what I call it. Jesus juice. That's my shit. You hear somebody in a rap song talking about Jesus juice, bruh. You know where they got it from. I'm just saying. I'm trying to put a patent on this shit. This shit is good. I'm buzzed like a motherfucker right now. But yeah, man, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is an important thing. And to the young folk out there in their 20s, Don't let the current state of affairs fool you or blind you. Do not let the current state of affairs fool you or blind you. I understand as a 41-year-old old millennial. See, I'm an old millennial, which basically makes me a Gen Zer. Basically makes me a Gen X. Young Gen Xers and old millennials were basically the same shit. See, a lot of the things that you hear about Gen Xers, those things apply to young Gen Xers, not the old Gen Xers. The old Gen Xers are really no different than the fucking punk ass baby boomers that came before them. All the things, all the stories, all the folklore that you hear about Gen Xers, those things are describing young Gen Xers, not the old Gen Xers, young Gen Xers. And those same things, those same stories, the same folklore that you heard about the young Gen Xers, those same things apply to us old millennials. Young Gen Xers and old millennials were raised in the same homes during the same era by the same parents. We were brought up under the same culture in the same America. You understand? Okay. Now, we don't come from the use your words generation. We don't come from the participation trophy generation. We don't come from the gentle parenting generation. Okay? We were the children who were neglected in many ways, and it made us tough. We were the children who were thrown to the wolves, and it made us tough. We are the children that you hear stories about, those kids who were outside all day drinking water out of fucking water hoses and shit. We were those children. You know what I'm saying? We were those children. We were the children who grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Before the world went to shit. Before America went to shit. Before these fucking baby boomers ran America into the fucking ground. See, back in the 80s and the 90s, America was still worth a damn. Because the baby boomers hadn't fucked it up yet. They were working on it. Because Lord knows Bill Clinton's NAFTA agreement in the mid-90s certainly contributed to America turning to shit. So they were working on it Jimmy Carter in the fucking 80s, Bill Clinton in the 90s. Oh, they were working on it. They were working on it. For all you Gen Zers and you Gen Alphas who might be listening right now, who actually do have a good grip on reality and a sense of history, specifically American history, and you're wondering how the fuck did America go to shit so fucking quick? Look no further than the fucking baby boomers. Look no further than the baby boomers. Okay? And if you are a member of Gen Z or Gen Alpha, the baby boomers are most likely your grandparents. For some of you, depending on how early your mother had children, for some of you, they might be your fucking great-grandparents, because, these days, motherfuckers is having kids when they 16 or 17 and shit. But most likely, we're talking about your grandparents, most likely. Look no further than the fucking boomers. You're talking about the only generation of Americans who not only mooched off of their parents, they mooched off of their fucking children. When you're talking about the baby boomers, you are talking about the most selfish, self-centered, self-serving generation ever produced on American soil. You want to know why the teenage or youth unemployment rate has been so much higher in the last 20 years than the previous years before it? It's because so many goddamn baby boomers didn't do shit. Didn't do shit with their fucking lives. So even at the ages of 60 something and 70 something, they have to be Walmart greeters to pay their bills, or work the customer service desk at a grocery store to pay their bills. Meanwhile, those are jobs that should be reserved for teenagers. Those are jobs that should be reserved for young people in their 20s who are, just getting started in life and trying to build a financial foundation for themselves. This is why so many of you young people are having a hard time getting financially situated, because there's still so many old motherfuckers in the workplace. There's still so many old motherfuckers working at these gas stations, working at these grocery stores, working at Walmart, working at Target, other various retail stores, and other different various places that you see all these old gray-haired motherfuckers working at. When had they done something with their fucking lives, had they done what they were supposed to do, they would be sitting somewhere with their fucking feet kicked up, retired, thus freeing up plenty of employment for young people. That is actually another way that these fucking baby boomers mooch off of not only their own children, but mooch off of the next generations coming up under them. So again, you Gen Zers and you Gen Alphas, you want to know how America went to shit? Look no fucking further than the goddamn baby boomers. Look no fucking further. Like I said, they're the only generation who mooched off of not only their parents, mooched off of their fucking children. They are the only generation of Americans who did not hand the next generation of Americans a better version of America than what was handed to them. America has done absolutely nothing but progress. Now, we can have a conversation about how America progressed, the roots of America's progression. Again, what did I tell you at the very beginning of the video? I am a foundational Black American man first. So we can certainly have a conversation about the roots of America's beginning, the roots of America's progression, how America became what it has become. We can certainly have that conversation. Now, I gotta say that before somebody comes in the comment section talking shit to me. Okay. But America has done absolutely nothing but progress since its inception. It is not till the fucking baby boomers came along that America regressed. Not only economically, but politically. Not only politically, but socially. Not only socially, but ideologically. Again, you want to know how America went to shit? I'm talking to you Gen Zers. I'm talking to you Gen Alphas. You want to know how America went to shit? Look no fucking further than the baby boomers. And like I said, if you're a Gen Zer or a Gen Alpha, more than likely, we're talking about your fucking grandparents. That's right. We're talking about your grandmama and your granddaddy. I know you love your grandmama and your granddaddy, but if your grandmama and your granddaddy are baby boomers, it is most likely that your grandmama and your granddaddy ain't shit. It is most likely that your grandmama and your granddaddy ain't shit. I ain't lying. I ain't lying for nothing. See, I done sipped on this Jesus juice, and the foundation of Black American Holy Ghost took over. I don't even know what the fuck I've been saying for the last hour. I don't even know. Shit, I've just been speaking from the heart and telling the damn truth. See, when you speak from the heart and you tell the damn truth, don't matter if people don't like what you say. Still the damn truth. You can't go wrong with the truth, even if people don't like it. Hate speech is free speech. People have the right to say what they want to say here in America. If a woman says she don't want to date a broke motherfucker, she's got the right to say it. And you shouldn't be mad at her for saying it. If a man says he don't want to date a fat bitch, he's got the right to say it. And you shouldn't be mad at him for saying it. If a woman says she don't want to date a short dude, she's got the right to say it, and you shouldn't be mad at her for saying it. If a man says he doesn't want to date a single mother, he's got the right to say it, and you shouldn't be mad at him for saying it. If somebody stands up and says, you know what, we have looked into the genealogy of Kamala Harris, and we have discovered she's not black. She is not a black woman. Last I checked, foundational Black Americans, we have every fucking right to determine who the fuck is black and who is not. And if we say Kamala Harris is not a black woman, well then that's the end of that goddamn conversation. And we have the right to say it. And as foundational Black Americans, we have a right to take it a step further. And we have the right to say, even if her father was a real Jamaican, she's still not a foundational Black American. Therefore, she is still not of our tribe. And because she's not of our tribe, we do not support her. We've got the right to say that. You can call that hate speech if you want to. You can call that xenophobic if you want to. We got the goddamn right to say it. So-called hate speech is free speech. And by the way, Kamala Harris is not a black woman. She is not. And as a matter of fact, of all people, of all people, Candace Owens is exposing the hell out of that fact that Kamala Harris is not a black woman. it is amazing how she's got pictures of herself with her grandmother who died 4 years before she was born. That is fucking amazing. I mean, that is amazing. I mean, for Kamala Harris to have pictures of herself with her grandmother who died 4 years before she was ever born, that can only mean one of two things. Either Kamala Harris is the first time traveler in human history, or she's lying about who the fuck her grandmother is. I'll let you decide. I'll let you decide. And what we all know for a fact is that Kamala Harris was the first East Indian DA in California. She was the first East Indian senator in California. Kamala Harris didn't become black until she decided to run for president. I mean, it's all documented. The front pages of the newspapers out there in San Francisco, it's all documented. First East Indian DA, first East Indian senator, it's all documented. She didn't become black until she decided to run for president, and the reason she decided to identify herself as being black because obviously you would have much more political clout running as a black woman than you would running as an East Indian woman. Certainly if you're running as a Democrat, for the fact that A, the black population in America heavily outweighs the East Indian population in America. I believe the black population is somewhere between 14 and 16%. The East Indian population is only somewhere between 2 and 3%. So you would have much more political clout running as a black woman. And then furthermore, seeing as how, B, the backbone of the Democratic Party is in fact the black vote, because unfortunately, the overwhelming vast majority, to the tune of 90 to 95% of black people have traditionally or historically voted Democrat. For a woman to, click her heels 3 times and call herself a black woman and run as a Democrat, obviously she would garner a lot of black support. But Kamala Harris is not a black woman. She is not. Now, there are some who say her father is part Irish, part Hindu. There are some who say her father is part British, part Hindu. It matters not to me. Bottom line is her father is part white, part Hindu. And just so happened to have been born in Jamaica. That doesn't make him a Jamaican, does it? It doesn't make him a real Jamaican. It doesn't make him black, does it? If my black ass was born in China, that wouldn't make me a Chinaman. It certainly wouldn't mean that my daughter is now Chinese. So how the fuck is Kamala Harris black? Especially when she's lying her ass off about her lineage. Because it has become glaringly obvious, and you can go look at the videos that Candace Owens has dropped in the last, I'm gonna say 4, 5, 6 days. It's become very obvious that the woman that the woman that there is a woman that is either her. Okay, there's the woman that she claims is her grandmother on her father's side. It's obvious that that's not her grandmother. And there's another woman on her father's side who her father actually referenced in his book as Miss Iris. It's pretty fucking obvious that the woman that her father referenced as Miss Iris is actually her grandmother. And that woman, Miss Iris, is a white woman. Clearly a white woman. A documented white woman. And you can see the resemblance. You can clearly see the resemblance. The same smile, the same cheekbones, the same face. That is obviously her grandmother, if not her mother. It might even be her mother. I mean, there's been so many lies told, so many obvious lies told about this woman's heritage and lineage on her father's side of the family, that for all we know, this woman might be her actual mother. And the fact of the matter is, the physical appearance is so similar, I wouldn't be shocked one bit if that actually was her mother. Kamala Harris is not a black woman. She is not a black woman. And the fact that this absolute scandal is not all over mainstream media should frighten you. The fact that ABC, MSNBC, CNN, all these liberal-leaning news stations are not talking about this, it should frighten you. It should frighten you that in America, these media stations have the ability to paint narratives and or completely disregard certain information that the people have a right to know. As foundational black Americans, we should be, well, she's not claiming to be a foundational black American. So let's just say, as black people in general, we should all collectively be absolutely insulted that this woman is pretending to be a black woman for political clout, lying about her lying about having black ancestry for political clout, and using blackness, if you will, to emotionally manipulate us into voting for her. We should be outraged and insulted. And thank God that the First Amendment gives me the right to say that. And there ain't a damn thing any of you emotional motherfuckers out there can do about it. Thank God. But I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, the foundational black American Holy Ghost took the wheel, baby. Because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a long one or a short one, but I approached it like it would be a long one. And the foundational black American Holy Ghost took over. Glory be to God. But I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a good one. I had fun. Until next time, and there will be a next time, remember, bands will make them dance, but these hands will change your face. Deuces.